Hi, Matt from Overland Travellers, and today I'm going to show you that you don't need to spend the big bucks to get a rig that will get you around Australia. Holly and myself have been travelling around Australia for, what, 9 months now?
9 months now, yeah.
9 months now. This is what we've been going around doing it in. We've been documenting the whole trip on YouTube via a weekly vlog, so you can check that out now if you'd like. How many episodes do we have?
We're up to 43-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe more by the time you see this, but
Yeah, who knows?
there's a lot there, so go and check
So yeah,
them
go
out.
check it out. It's good fun. Alright, so onto the vehicle itself. This is a 2000 Hilux. It's the 3-litre naturally aspirated diesel, so she's a bit slow. How did I get it? My old man bought this thing new back in 2000, and then I think in 2017 he got a new Hilux. This had a few small issues with it, overheating, radiator was a bit buggered, things like that. And he said, do you want it? I said, yep, needed a car at the time, so I jumped on it, kind of like the idea of a 4-wheel drive. Yeah, and it's really just blossomed from there, you could say. So today I'm just going to show you what I've done to turn it into a touring rig. How much it cost me, more importantly, because this is definitely a budget setup. But yeah, first I'll show you where this thing has gotten us. So when I was doing my research on YouTube, mainly just to find out what other people were touring in, how they do their setups, as you're doing right now, I noticed a lot of guys, they had, really expensive rigs. Some of them way north of 100 grand. Nothing wrong with that. Trust me, one day I would love to have a car like that. But it just wasn't really an option for us. We had a very limited budget. So yeah, I'll show you what we had to work with. So with budget gear, you just have to be prepared to sort of have a bit of a workaround with some of it, maybe do some repairs along the way. But also you just have to be realistic of where you can actually go with this gear. Like, I'm not going to take this ute the really remote tracks. I'm not going to do the canning stock route, things like that. So after saying that, let's show you around. I'll start with what I've actually done to the ute itself. Let's pop the hood in this bad boy. Alright, so what we have here is essentially a bog stock 5L. As I said, this is a naturally aspirated diesel. So it's slow as anything, but practically bomb-proof, these old engines. So in regards to engine mods, all I've done is I put a snorkel on it just to get cleaner air up higher, and also if I was going through a river crossing and it was deep, I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So I try to avoid really deep river crossings, but it's good to have it, just a bit of peace of mind. Yeah, besides that, it's pretty much bog stock. In the past, it's had a reconditioned gearbox put in, that went, and it had a heavy duty clutch put in, which is good for me. Nothing much else to say. Less restrictive muffler. You probably heard that many a time on the vlog, if you watch it. Yeah, she's pretty loud on the highway and everything, but it made a little difference in power. I suppose it just breathes a bit easier, gets the gases out. So that's it for the engine mods. Also, just quickly with this engine, a few people asked me if I'm going to turbocharge it. I've thought about it. I have. Everyone's thought about turbocharging an NA diesel, but look, it's at the end of the day, I'm going to shoot the reliability of the engine, and it's still going to be slow. So I'd rather be slow and reliable, or about just as slow and not reliable. So this thing's done nearly 400,000. So you know, it's getting on. So I think at this stage it's not a good idea to turbocharge it. So yeah, keeping it stock, having it reliable. While we're at the front here, the bar work is just a bog stock Toyota bar from factory. I don't have a winch. It might be something I'll get in the future, but for now we haven't needed it. Also on the front here, we've got the 7-inch King spotties. Now these things, I know you can get them for about 75 bucks. With the wiring loom, about 100. Like, they are so cheap, and I've personally had a really good run with them. They've been knocked around. The bolts have come loose. That was my fault because I didn't tighten them properly. One of my brackets snapped. The light was bouncing around for, I don't know, probably a couple of 100 Ks on the OLT data track. It survived, and they're bright. They actually are really bright. I'll probably do a separate little video on these just for a little bit of a review, but if you're looking at budget spotlights, honestly, the Kings are awesome, and for the price. Like, I know your more expensive brands, you can get over $1,000 for a set of lights. So yeah, under 100, amazing. Another thing with the Ute, so as far as the suspension goes, on the front, it doesn't have the stock shockies anymore. They're Petters shockies in the front. They're 4x4 shockies, they're fine. They're probably getting a bit old now. I just had the torsion bars adjusted recently, which has helped the Ute a lot. It, you know, sitting up a lot nicer, bit more clearance. So it hasn't had a 2-inch lift or anything on the front, but it's sitting pretty well, and the clearance has been pretty alright for what we've been doing so far. If you come to the back, this is something we did spend a bit of money on. We just went to Dobinson's with all this weight I had in the back with the Canopy setup. We just said, yep, we just need to sort out the rear suspension, because otherwise I was just going to destroy the Ute. It was on its guts with the stock suspension. The shockies are buggered anyways. So, as I said, went to Dobinson's. I've got 300 kilo constant load springs in there, and yeah, 4x4 shockies. They're like, compared to the stock ones, which are about this thin, these things are fat. They're like that. So they have been probably one of my favourite mods to the Ute. Just sorting out your suspension, making sure it's working for the weight you have is so important, just for the longevity of your vehicle, but obviously comfort, off-road, and just safety as well. So these Hiluxes came out with little cheese cutter split rims. Splitties, I'm not a fan of them. So we got the cheapest 16-inch Sunrays you can get. They look fine, it's cool. One thing I did spend some money on was my tyres. I've got the Mickey Thompson Baja ATZ P3s, like unreal tyres. I don't have too much to compare it to, but we haven't had one flat the whole trip. I mean, what have we done? 35,000 Ks, unreal tyres. I can't recommend these tyres highly enough. Gibb River Road, Oodna Data Track, we were passing cars, I had flats, and these are great. I can let them right down, and I can have these coppered over corrugations rather than my suspension and everything else in my Ute. So yep, Mickey's probably one of the, again, favourite things that I've got for this Ute. Alright, so inside the cab, obviously it's a space cab. I love the space cab. The area back here is fantastic. We store all our clothes back there, camera gear, and I mean, as opposed to the 4-door versions, the wheel and the weight of the Canopy is sitting a lot more center over the rear axle, whereas I know the 4-doors, the Canopy can start, front of the Canopy can start right at the right where the wheel is. So I like the space cab for that reason. It's good for 2 people. Yeah, I suppose a few other things in here. Dash cam. I've just got this nice leather steering wheel cover recently. As far as comms go, we've recently got this, which is the Oricom Ultra 550, which is a really good handheld unit. I've done a whole video on that and how I wish we got it earlier. And when I need to extend the range, I've got a magnetic aerial, which can just go on the Ute, on the roof, and yeah, whack it on, and it's good to go. Besides that, there's not much to talk about in here at all, as far as comfort goes. Alright, I might show you our water tank. So right in here is our water tank. It's a Front Runner, really good brand. Weird story how I got it. I actually just got it for free from my old work. A bloke was throwing it out. And yeah, he said, yeah, do you want it? And I was looking for a water tank at the time, and perfect. As I said, Front Runner, so I think it's South African, awesome brand. But it's really good. It's two sections, one here, one there. It goes in the footwell here, and it actually has a molded section which goes over the drive line. So it's really dead space here if you've got no one sitting in the back, which we obviously don't because we've got all our clothes and that. We couldn't fit anyone in. So it's perfect to, good dead space, nice and low, centered in the ute. Perfect place to have the weight. I think it's around 50 litres. It gives us about a week in the bush using, coffee, tea, cooking, all that kind of thing, washing. So yeah, it's a good amount for us. We don't really have the gear to stay out in the bush longer than a week. So yeah, it's perfect for us, and yeah, it was good for a free find, that's for sure. So that's pretty much it for the ute. Nothing complicated. It's pretty much bog stock. Suspension on the back, that's really good. Had the stock bull bar, that kind of thing, snorkel. So really simple setup. Didn't cost me much to do because I didn't really do much to the ute. So now we'll move on to what makes this a touring setup, which is the canopy. Alright, so this is a MRT canopy, Mates Rates Tools. They're Australia-wide in all the major centres now. So this is probably, one of the cheaper options that I found on the internet back when I was looking for one. I've done a whole video on this more in depth about the canopy and how it's going and how it's held up this trip. So you can check that out now. But I'll run over it briefly. I got 3 ladder racks, an internal steel support structure in the inside, just for extra rigidity when we're on rough roads. And then I also got the lift-off system, so that included the legs and the toggle latches to put it onto the tray. That's unreal, having that option to be able to take it off. When we get to a campsite and, you need to set up, but you want to drive away or set up for a few days or whatever, you can take it off and you don't have to pack your whole camp up, which is a massive thing when you've got a rooftop tent. People with rooftop tents would know. So yeah, and then the ute's really way lighter. I can go forward driving or, go have a bit of fun and not have all the weight in the back. So that's a really big plus. Actually, just quickly before we go inside, I'll tell you about the awning. So this here is a 2x5 by 2x5 super peg awning. We've only got this recently. We were given this from Super Peg. It's an unreal awning, incredible. This is a budget awning as well. This is $200, so it's not going to break the bank in regards to your budget awnings. Before this, we had a King's awning. It was a 2x3 meter. Look, it was good for the price. It did the job, provided us with a bit of shelter, but it was pretty average. Again, I've done a whole video on that and about how it was average, but did the job, all that kind of thing. It just had pretty average Velcro. We would find it was ripping off. It's nothing like waking up in the morning and just a beautiful, serene spot. Sort of broke, it was flimsy. Anyways, did the job. We had a 2x3 meter awning room with it. We actually really like the awning room. I'd probably get an awning room for this awning, a 2.5 by 2.5. It was just really good to be able to be inside in some of the colder climates when we were in Tassie or we were set up for a couple of days. It was great just to be able to, be inside, have a bit of privacy, get changed, that kind of thing. It was really good because you could actually enter or open the door of the canopy while inside the room. It had a back wall that folded up. So that was really good. I'll definitely get another one of those rooms for this awning. I would definitely recommend that setup. It's good. All right, now we'll go inside the canopy. All right, so this side of our canopy is what we sort of call the kitchen. It's everything to do with cooking. Inside the canopy is where we saved a lot of money. We did this fit out ourselves, super basic. It's just wood, bit of ply, and just a bit of straight timber. We had hammers and chisels to do it. So I've actually found the build outs worked really well. The wood's great because over all the rough roads and everything like that, it's actually had a bit of room to move and flex. So it's definitely not the same shape it was when we built it, but it's good because I'd rather it sort of bend and move out of shape than break completely. So yeah, I'll run you through what we've got in here and how we've set it up. Over here, we've got a 40-litre fridge. This is from Audi. Again, budget option. It's been going for like 2.5 years. It's been bouncing around in the back. We haven't had an issue with it. The only thing that's gone wrong with it, clip broke off on the top. I just put toggle latches on it just to keep it closed tight. It's not on a fridge slide, but we can just open up a little bit. 40 litres is enough for us. We don't have a freezer, but we find ourselves eating everything we get. We don't have any leftovers because we need to eat it to make room. And I feel like I've met a lot of people on the road and they've sort of said, oh, how do you do with 40 litres? You know, they've got 90 or 180 or something like that. Fridges, I think no matter what size you have, you're going to fill it up. So if you can, try and go a bit smaller. It's just going to save you a bit of room in the canopy. It's going to use less power. And I feel like, yeah, you just eat everything you have. You don't, sort of leave everything in the fridge and, freeze it and just stays there forever. So that's our fridge. Moving on, we've got pantry boxes. This has just got all our oil, sugar, sauces, soy sauce, everything like that. Pantry drawers. These are oats drawers from Bunnings. Really good piece of gear. Now here we used to have our Weber, a baby cue. We just took it out recently because we just found we weren't using it enough. It's taking up heaps of space. Obviously quite heavy as well. It's at the back, so not great. We took it out. We're glad we did. In its stead now we have our dual burner here, and we also have this single burner which just runs on butane, which is really good for just quick stops when you just want to have a quick coffee or a tea, boil the water, or if you just want to cook something at lunch, you don't have to get the big gas bottle out and set it up. So we actually find it's really good having that. Underneath is all our cooking paraphernalia. We've got knives, forks, spatulas, all that gear. We've got a few pots and pans. We've got a camp oven. I've also got a cast iron hot plate under here for fire. And then this little basket here just has all our plates, cups, things like that. And then here we just keep things that we sort of use quite often. Scrubber. We've got all our, soaps and dishwashing liquid up here. Toothbrushes, salt, pepper. What's this? Oh, DEET. Insect repellent. And also our hand sanitizer, which is a really handy little thing to have when you're out camping because you don't need water to wash your hands. Here we have a Coleman hot water on demand. Now this is our little luxury we have for this trip. We've got a little shower tent. It's a pop-up shower tent, really quick and easy. We need a good source of water close by because it uses a lot, the hot water shower. But it's such a luxury and it's so nice having a hot shower when you've been, out and about for a few days. So we make an effort to have a shower. We don't like not being clean. So yeah, as I said, Coleman hot water on demand if you're interested. Really good little unit, nice and simple. It's worked well for us. Anything else to add, Holly? That's pretty much everything this side.
My paper towel.
Oh yeah, paper towel, dispenser. You can roll that out. It's just held up with the zip ties and an old carabiner clip that my brother put in for the first night. Oh yeah, also lighting. Now these are $13 12-volt RGB LEDs, and it's a strip. It was 5 meters, cost $13 from eBay. Came with a remote control. Now I wanted RGB because I wanted to be able to turn the lights red for when all the insects are out and about. Turn it on, there we go. Obviously it's daytime so it doesn't look very bright. They're not very bright, to be honest. This is a nice orange mood colour, but as I said, you can turn them red.
Can you put it to party mode?
Oh,
Party works.
party light. That's good when you want to party. That's another little plus. There we are, red. So red, white. Yeah, so as I said, $13 budget option. They're not very bright, but they've worked the whole trip, and yeah, they don't use much power, that's for sure. Very low draw. All right. A few other things I got here. Welder's gloves. These were like $8 or $9 from Bunnings. Awesome for fire. I'd definitely recommend a set of these. Let's move on. Alright, so at the back of the Canopy here, there's a bit going on. Got a 20 litre jerry can here. We don't have a long range fuel tank. It's probably one thing I'd consider getting before starting this trip. But yep, it was the cheapest option. Whack a jerry can in the back. We've got our 9 kilo gas bottle here. This thing's unreal. Like with our dual burner and our hot shower unit, it lasts us months. I mean, we got one just after we got back from Tassie, and then it lasted us until Exmouth, the top northwest of WA. So yeah, it's not great having all this weight on the back though, these heavy items, the jerry can and the gas bottle before driving and things like that. But it was just so convenient to get them out of the Canopy. They're quite dirty items as well and sort of stink a bit. So yeah, it was good getting it out. Dirty rubbish bag and also wood. Really handy to have on the back. I'd recommend that. And then we've got a little Yeti bottle opener here, which is my favourite thing on the entire ute. It's pewter. And then up here we've got our fishing rod tube. I am an absolute hopeless fisherman. I have not caught one fish the entire way around Australia. So that is practically useless. But anyways, one day maybe I'll get that fish. See how we go. Alright, I'll open up the back and show you inside. Alright, Holly's sticker. Caring, understanding Northern Territory. She put that there because she thought it would be out of the way. Anyway, here we are on YouTube. Alright, so as you can see, I've got a bit of a divider here with the fit out. So, kitchen side here. In the middle is sort of things that I don't use all the time, but I kind of want out of the way. So I've got my tools, recovery gear, compressor, tyre changing equipment, and then I've got fluids, spare oil, spare coolant, gearbox oil, all that kind of stuff up the front. Shovel as well. So as I said, it's kind of that sort of maintenance kind of gear. That's all in the front. So it's sort of nice and out of the way there. So yeah. Alright, so before I open this side up, just quickly note, we've got 4 max tracks up here. Just hold them in with a ratchet strap. We got these later on in the trip. We did have 2 cheapo rip-off Audi version. I used them like twice and they didn't do very well. I kind of bugging them up anyways. I spun the tyres and melted all the knobs off, but they didn't last particularly well anyways, so. We thought, oh well, we better get a decent option because we don't have a winch, you know, to get ourselves out if we're in a bit of a bog, bit of trouble or something. So we just bit the bullet, spent the money, and got 4 max tracks. So we haven't used them yet, but I'm sure we will one day. All right, I'll open it up. All right, so on this side, I've got storage and my 12-volt system up there. So I'll run through that soon. But pretty much we've just got, you know, in this storage box, it's all our snorkels, flippers, spare clothes, spare sheets, spare towels, camping paraphernalia, things like that. It's just general storage. Underneath is where I store the legs for the jack-off or lift-off system. They're really heavy, those legs, so if you're thinking about getting a system like this, just keep in mind, combined, say the legs weigh about 60 kilos, maybe more. But they're under there, out of the way. I don't need to get them out much, that's fine. We've got this lifetime table here. It's massive. It'd probably be a little bit big for too many people, or most people, sorry, but we quite often have our cooking gear out and our laptops out editing videos at the same time, so we just like this table too much just to not use it. It doesn't take up too much room. It's just sort of, you know, big footprint, but it's nice and flat, slides in well. We do have a smaller table from Austrail, but as I said, we find we just like this too much. So, really good table, really quick and easy to set up. These here are the 160 watt solar panels from Kings. I kind of want to change to a lighter, more convenient solar setup just to try and cut weight in this ute. But they're good solar panels for the price, they're fine, worked well for me. it's less than $1 a watt. So when you buy them, so good value. Could recommend them. Up here we've got our pop-up shower tent, and then in here we've got our bendy bucket, pop-out bucket from Aldi. These things are unreal. We use this every day for everything. We wash up in it, we collect water in it, put dirty dishes in it. Just really good piece of gear. Definitely recommend getting one of these. All right. Ladder to get up into the tent. Hot water, shower, head gear, stuff like that. These here are our new camp chairs. We recently got these from Austrail. As you can see, this is a whole chair, so unreal footprint. Our other ones are probably a bit more comfortable, but these are still comfortable, and it's not the point. These are so small and light, compact, easy. We don't have to fit 2 massive chairs in the ute. It's just about cutting weight. That's what we've been trying to do recently. So we really like these chairs. Highly recommend them. All right, 12 volt. Let's do it. All right, so this is my 12 volt system. I did it myself. Now, quick note. I would not recommend doing a 12 volt system yourself. If you do it yourself and your car burns down, I don't think your insurance company is going to take Matt from Overland Travellers told me this is how to do it. I'm not a qualified auto electrician. You should probably get a professional to do it. But I just did my research. I had a crack and it's worked so far this whole trip. And my car hasn't burnt down, so that's good. So after that being said, I will tell you how I did. All right. So there's sort of 2 components to my 12 volt system. In here, I've got my big battery bank. I've got 2 120 amp hour AGM batteries, so 240 amp hours all up. And then in my power hub, I've got a small 60 amp hour battery. So the power hub just charges straight off the main system. It's all connected one big battery when this is plugged in. The power hub's great because I can take power away from this side of the ute. When we're doing editing, stuff like that, I can take it around, plug the laptops in, charge our phones, just have the power there, which is good. I'll just show you. This is a really good little unit. It's got a little LCD screen, tells you what percentage you're at. It's got all your connections you'd ever need. If you want a really quick and easy 12 volt system, you don't want to have to do any built-in stuff, I could really recommend just getting one of these and then just getting a little DC to DC charger just to charge it. Around this side, it's got a 300 watt pure sine wave inverter. This is all I have. I don't have a larger inverter than that. Look, I think a lot of people, they like the idea of being able to run anything out in the bush, so they get these big inverters. Now, I'm not running a microwave or anything like that. Coffee machine, some people do, that's fine. I think it's pretty cool having a coffee machine, but pretty much what I reckon people should do is get an inverter for the most power hungry thing you have. And for us, it's not much beyond a coffee grinder or charging a laptop. So 300 watt was fine. A smaller inverter is cheaper and it doesn't take as much power to run. So yeah, I mean, if you got your big 1500 watt and you're charging a laptop off it, it's going to be using more juice than a 300 watt inverter. I really don't think you need much beyond that unless there's something specifically you want to run. So that's what I do, and it's worked for us really well. All right, I might just quickly go to the front to show you what sends power to the back. So what actually charges my batteries is a 140 amp kick-ass VSR. So a VSR stands for voltage sensitive relay. So essentially, this will only start sending power to the leisure batteries when it goes over a certain voltage. So the cut in is 13.2 volts. So when this battery is going above 13.2, only when the car's running, it'll start charging the batteries. And then when you turn your ute off and it goes below 12.8 volts, it will stop charging your batteries. So there's no way it's going to run your starter battery flat. It's all fused up, it's all safe, it's good to go. what else? This has a little override switch, this one here. So what that does is it actually negates the actual voltage sensitive part. So if your starter battery is flat, even though it's not great for your batteries to do this, your leisure batteries, you can send power to the front. So it'll even out the voltage, so you might be able to start your car and get yourself out of a bit of trouble. So why did I go for this? Well, I'll show you when I go around back to the back. Alright, so people have often asked me why I have a C-Tech charger in here and I'm using the VSR, the Kick-Ass VSR to charge the batteries. Alright, so that there is a D250 SA from C-Tech. That's a 20 amp charger, so I can charge from the alternator, but it's a 20 amp charger. And the Kick-Ass is a 140 amp hour charger. Now the Kick-Ass VSR isn't as an intelligent charger as the C-Tech. The C-Tech does it in stages, which is better for your batteries, but I just wanted to get a bit more juice going in. So to boost the juice with the C-Tech, I would have to have got the 120 Smart Pass, which was like $400, and that would have boosted it up to 140 amp hour charging from the alternator. So I said $400, and then the Kick-Ass VSR was $30, and that's it. So I saved myself, hundreds of dollars, and it's done the job fine so far. I just use the C-Tech as my solar charger, and yeah, it's a great solar charger. So that's all I use the C-Tech for. Now everything's fused up. It's got its own fuse. So the fridge has its own fuse. I've got a little fuse box here. Switch panels, fridge is hardwired in. It's just constantly on if it's plugged in. And then I've got two panels here. Little voltage meter, really simple eBay stuff. And then I've got heaps of USB inputs and 12 volt sockets just to charge stuff. And yeah, my lights run off it. It's just a little wooden casing that I've built myself. So as I said, it's not pretty. It's just screwed into the canopy. But one thing about this setup, it's not pretty and it's a throw together, and it was pretty cheap for what it is, but has not failed me once this trip. I've gone pretty overkill with the batteries, having 300 amp hours all up. And it's pretty much running a small fridge and then charging a bit of gear, but I'd rather have way too much power than constantly, dropping below 12 volts and, just having all those kind of issues. And I've seemed to, see a lot of people have issues with their 12 volt systems. So this has been fun and it's worked for me so far. So happy with it. So this here is how I connect the charger from the alternator to the battery system. Now I can actually unplug it because the Canopy is a jack-off system. I can just unplug the whole system and then drive the ute out. So usually when I'm stationary for a couple of days, the Canopy's off, or I just want to make sure I've got the extra juice. This is my solar input. Just pull the solar panels out, plug them in straight away. As I said, I probably want a different setup soon. I think I'll go for a semi-flexible solar panel on top of the rooftop tent, and then a solar blanket just to have it a bit lighter, smaller setup, more convenient. So yeah, that's it. All right, so now on to our sleeping arrangements. We've got the King's Quickie pop-up rooftop tent. Now this tent, it's had a bit of a sordid history. When we bought it, we loved it. It was it's an unreal piece of gear in regards to setup time, comfort. We actually have an extra mattress inside, so we've got about this much foam in there. All our bedding, you can leave it in. 10 seconds, the tent's up. It's not even a thing. When you get to camp, you don't even have to think about setting up your tent. It just goes up, really easy to pack up. So we loved it for that reason. I loved it so much, I did a review on it. I recommended it. It's got like 160 or 170,000 views right now, so a lot of people have watched it. And then it started breaking. So got onto Kings, they were really good. They swapped it over for me. So this is the warranty replacement, and I did a whole video on this about it breaking as well. So please check those two out for more details on the tent and breaking, all that kind of thing. So this is the warranty replacement. It's breaking as well in the exact same spot. So we're not going to go for another one of these, but we love the design so much. We love the pop-up. We couldn't go back to anything else. So we're actually going to give the King's Grand Tourer tent a go, which is a brand new one. It's same sort of design, similar to the Alu Cab design. It's aluminium. It's twice as expensive as this one. This one's $1,000. The Grand Tourer is, I think, it's about $2,000. But we'll put the extra money in and we'll give it a go, and I'll do a review on that for you guys. I'm confident about it. Hopefully it's a really good piece of gear. Also in our tent, I had a little 7 amp hour deep cycle battery. I got to have an exit light. I put a little solar regulator on it, got a tiny little flexible solar panel, glued it onto the top of the roof, ran some cables down through the tent, and then that ran some little fairy lights inside the tent so we could read at night and also charge our phones overnight. The solar panel blew off recently, so I won't be replacing it because I want to get a really big solar panel and change the whole tent setup on top. Alright, so we're running through a little bit of a summary of the whole setup. We would think we're probably spending between 10 to 12 grand setting up everything on the ute. That does include what the ute's worth and the price of the ute. You can get these things cheap these days. Now you're probably thinking, alright, like that's still 20 something grand to you know, do a setup like this. But for the level of comfort that we've been traveling in this whole trip, the convenience of the setup, where it's got us, I think it's a really reasonable price. And look, 4-wheel driving and touring, it's bloody expensive. 20 grand, I know it seems like a lot of cash, but you know, for a touring rig, it's really not.
Pretty cheap.
It's pretty cheap. We've seen a lot of setups as we've gone around. We've traveled with other people, and we've found our setup's been pretty much the quickest and most convenient out of anyone's. I'd really highly recommend getting a pop-up rooftop tent, not a fold-out one. The pop-up's unreal. Canopy on the side, the awning on the side, canopy. It just works. It's really easy. I don't know.
We haven't had any major issues either. Touch wood.
Nothing
mechanically.
Nothing hugely wrong.
Yeah.
Just small things. Things you have to expect. You have to expect a few little things to go wrong. A few little bits and pieces to break here and there. Because it is budget gear, so you just got to be prepared to have a bit of a workaround. And as I said, be realistic of where you're going to go. We were realistic. We've gone everywhere we've wanted to go. We haven't really pushed the ute. Maybe, I don't know, a little con with our setup definitely would be the weight. This ute's really underpowered as it is. The ideal weight in this thing would be probably nothing on the back pretty much besides the tray. But hey, for the comfort, it was worth it. But we've got rid of a whole heap of weight recently.
We did. We recently got back to my parents' place, emptied the ute out of stuff we don't need or use. We weighed the ute, and how much did we weigh? 2.9?
Yeah, 2.9. So I think we should be around 2.7 now.
Yeah, we're going to go reweigh it.
But yeah, which is under GVM, so that's good. But yeah, lighter the better. If you can get a lighter touring setup, definitely go for a lighter touring setup.
Yeah.
All right, now I think we'll probably, put up a list of the costs?
Yeah.
More exact costs will still be a little bit rough because I can't remember everything.
Yeah,
but we'll try and put it up. Yeah, major costs for major items. All right, I'm going to try and just list through some major costs now. All right, tent, $1,000. Awning was $120. The awning room, I'm pretty sure, was about $220. Okay, other major costs.
Canopy,
$3,500, which is pretty good for one of these things. If you start looking around, you'll see it's a good price. What else? Tyres. Now, my parents own a tyre shop. Well, they did when I started the trip, so I was very lucky. I got cheap tyres and cheap batteries. Mickey's, I think for a full set's going to set you back around $1,600. So that's a major cost, but I'd definitely recommend getting good tyres. It's going to save you a massive headache. Batteries, again, I got cheap batteries through my parents' business. How much did they cost? I think batteries, for that size, 120 amp hours, probably going to cost around $270, around there, full price. Maybe a little bit less. So I think my 12 volt system, the power hub's $400. There's probably $500 worth of batteries there, and then cabling, all wirings cost me a couple $100 for the wiring. Switch panels, $50 off eBay. Timber to do the fit out, that was probably like $120, but yeah, screwed it all in myself, did that myself. Fridge, $500. $500 from Audi. All right, I said before, the lights, you can get those King's lights for about $100. Suspension, that was a major cost, $1,700, but I'd highly recommend sorting out your suspension, making sure your car is riding well for the weight you have. Hot water system, I think I got that for around $220. Now, I got that about half price because I price matched at Anaconda. They beat it by 10%. So I found it on the internet. So easy. You just get your phone out, find on the internet the price, cheapest price, show them, and they'll beat it by 10%. So do that kind of stuff. That'll save you some money. What else?
Max Trucks.
Max Tracks. They were $500 for 4 Max Tracks, so they're expensive. Haven't used them yet, but when I will, they'll be worth it. Look, that's a major cost, but there's so many little in-between costs as well. I mean, jerry can, I think was, $40, and then the jerry can holder, and, gas holder, and all the bag of tools, $100 from Kings. All your fluids, everything like that. It just adds up. It's all the little things that start adding up with these kind of setups. As I said, I got my water tank for free. I did the build out myself, the fit out myself. Just save money where you can. Kings do heaps of budget gear, but there's some really good budget options. Super Peg, $200, and this awning is unreal. Did a review on it. It's probably out by now, so check that out. Like snorkel, I got that off eBay. I think it was $50. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the rig rundown.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'm sorry it's taken us so long to get it to you.
Yeah.
You have asked multiple times and for a very long time. But yeah, we just haven't had the opportunity to do it how we wanted to do it for you, so we hope you liked it.
Yeah, hope you liked it, guys, and I hope it's given you a couple of ideas to set up your own touring rig.
And
anyways,
yeah, go travel Australia. It's an awesome country.
Go do it. It's unreal. Yeah, get out there, enjoy it, and thanks for watching. Cheers.
Cheers.